Nealay, why did you decide to write jewelry for the new romantic?
I wrote this book because I've never had a passion for selling my jewelry when I designed it and created it. I've always wanted to write the directions on how to create it and have someone else create it for themselves, just so they can gain confidence in themselves and try something new. And this book was an amazing opportunity to create all the pieces and the directions on how to write them, and it was with Kalmbach that I was able to accomplish exactly what I set out to do. It was a goal of mine ever since I started to have a book of mine made with a collection of pieces that I'm incredibly proud of, and thanks to Kalmbach I was able to accomplish that.
What skill level does this book appeal to?
The book appeals to a variety of skill levels. I wrote the projects to sort of have a transition between the beginner projects all the way to advanced, just so any sort of person could, or beader that's interested in doing jewelry, could pick up the book and create the projects, whichever one they are, even if it's from advanced level to beginner type of projects. They could create a variety, and hopefully the transition will encourage the reader to create all the pieces.
What inspired you when creating the projects in this book?
I wanted to create a portfolio of work that sort of represented a period of time, and I was sketching a lot during the time that I decided to actually set out to write a book. And I was showing a friend of mine these sketches, and she pinpointed that the projects had a certain Edwardian Victorian flavor to them. So I was just like, wow, that's kind of cool. So I sort of looked into that period more, and it was very airy, lacy design, and that's exactly what I was designing with what I was doing. And so I took that as inspiration, and I wanted to incorporate a futuristic twist to it. So that's where the beading wire came into play, and I was able to interweave that into the design and create something that's really new, really modern and airy and lacy, and still be able to encapsulate all this stuff, all these aspects of the Edwardian period. I think it was just a really fun twist on creating something that's new and brilliant and really cool.
What influences your work and your creative process?
I really like going to the web or bead magazines or even Facebook for current and modern trends, especially with color palettes. I think what people are creating out there are really brilliant projects and ideas. For myself, I don't necessarily like to follow trends, but I really like pushing myself to new ideas and boundaries that I can push for myself and start to create some newer work that's not been done or seen before. And the web and those resources are a great way for me to find current and new inspiration to do that.
How is this book different than those currently on the market? What makes it unique?
There's a couple fun new concepts that I wanted to include in this book. The first one is creating a full cohesive collection, which consists of a necklace, bracelet, and earrings. From what I've learned with talking to different beaders out there, they either like to create a necklace just for themselves or a bracelet for a friend or even the full set, and this book gives them the option to do that, the way that I've been able to create separates for each design. So I thought that was just a really fun way to approach this particular project. The second one is including the bead stringing wire in with each design. It's a technique that's not out there right now, which I'm really proud of, and it's fun, it's very versatile, the wire is incredibly flexible, so you could use it in any sort of way, and also the variety of projects that you get from it, and how inexpensive it is.
What have you learned from teaching that you have incorporated into this book?
I think the most significant attribute that I've been able to contribute to the book in learning from teaching is the effective way of communicating directions for the pieces. I think instructional writing is such a creative craft that it's different for everybody to perceive, and so I tried to hopefully accomplish a creative way of getting this process of how to create these different pieces into the book in my writing language. And everyone's different, everyone learns differently from what I've learned through teaching, and so I also tried to create illustrations that hopefully will communicate very clearly. And everybody's different, and they like to create different pieces as well. So there again, I wanted to create a collection of work that had a versatility of pieces within the collection, so that you could really just pick up any project from the book and create it without having to learn something else or something new from another source initially.
Why would a consumer be drawn to this book?
I think a consumer would be drawn to my book because it breaks any sort of expectations that a person that's been doing jewelry design for a long time would automatically go to, just with the type of projects that are in there, the type of stitches. And I tried to include as many new concepts and stitches and techniques as I possibly could to create something that is virtually a brand new product out there that's going to be on the market. And anyone who's been familiar with beading will hopefully pick it up and be like, oh, this is so different and new with what he's doing with beading wire. And someone who's not been doing beading at all or jewelry design can pick it up and be like, oh, well, this is a good way to start. It's something new, different, and I think I'd be interested in doing it. And I think with the type of projects that are in there, it will be simple enough for anyone to create.